it's a notion I've actually found useful, or meaningful at least. I can't say I use it much in my practice, but the notion of that, we had there's 7 notes in the octave. We hear oct and we think 8, but middle C and then the C above it is actually the first note of the next octave. And so we had the sun and the moon and the classical planets, 7 planets, and so the musical scale and the astrology became associated with each other. And then the planet Uranus was discovered. And so here it is, maybe the beginning of a new octave, an 8th planet, like an 8th note. It made sense. This is more the poetic thinking than logic, I guess, but rather than starting with the sun or the moon, to start this new scale with Mercury, it just sort of worked. And we're going to see as we get into this that Neptune is the higher octave of Venus and Pluto the higher octave of Mars. So there was a consistency here. But the observed reality, it just made so much sense. So, Mercury is our intelligence, and Uranus, our intelligence an octave higher, our genius, the way genius relates to intelligence. It's like intelligence operating at a doubled frequency, like literally an octave in music. And then Venus, human love. An octave higher, we have Neptune, divine love, universal love, love for all, God's love, octave relationship, Venus energy doubled. And then Mars, courage, just simple courage in this world. And Pluto, an octave higher, the courage it takes to face our own shadow, to do the inner work. Mars battle is with the world, but the Pluto battle is with the self. So an octave higher. And here, I know the question was strictly about the Mercury and the Uranian energy, but I wanted to look at all 3 of these octave relationships. So you could see that there's a kind of internal logic that doesn't feel forced or anything like that. It sort of makes a simple sense. Makes me wonder, we're in a mysterious realm here with the planets out beyond Pluto. In this program, we put some work into looking at Eris. I'm not sure if Eris would be the next one out beyond Pluto. There's other possibilities, and it's all kind of vague now. But if somebody said Eris was the higher octave of the sun, I could kind of make some sense of that. That there's the sun. I'm the center of the universe. Everything revolves around me. And with Eris, there's a sense of competitiveness, which is solar, but a competitiveness that, when it's healthy, is it's like I'm seeking excellence, which might involve me being more excellent than somebody else, but I'm seeking excellence for the benefit of the community. So there's a higher expression. I'm not sure what the higher octave of the moon would be. I'm not even sure Eris is the higher octave of the sun, but I'm pretty confident with that Mercury, Venus, Mars territory and the Uranus, Neptune, Pluto territory. We have good understanding of all those symbols, and they really do seem to lock in. Mercury, we are believing what we see. It's like trusting your senses, trusting your eyes. Mercury is very much connected to the senses. With Uranus, we begin to recognize that we can't always trust our senses, because our senses have been conditioned by social and mythic forces that might blind us to what's before our eyes. Like most of what passes for common sense in the world now, just in the street sense of the term, common sense, is based on a terrible devotion to the idea that there are only three dimensions and we're bound by time and the universe is run by logic and there's no such thing as miracles. All of which is horseshit, of course, that's common sense. Uranus asks the questions that break us out of the tyranny of the collective mindset. And that's where the genius comes into play. So it's a valid concept. I'm not sure how I use it in counseling astrology. It's kind of built into my understanding of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, but I've never felt the need to say any of that to a client. I just talk about Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto on their own 2 feet. But it is a valid piece of theory.